Have you ever said any of these things to your teens? You're not working hard enough. You get distracted too often. You're hanging out with bad company. You need to stop being so irresponsible. Parenting teens can be frustrating, so it's understandable if you sometimes or frequently say these types of things to your teens. These types of statements are statements of judgment, and they cause teens to become unmotivated. As a result, teens will be even less likely to change their attitude and behavior for the better. Statements of judgment are statements where you include your own opinions and conclusions about the situation. Your teenagers probably don't agree with many of your conclusions, so they might just ignore what you say. Going back to the first example I gave, when you say to your teenage son, "You're not working hard enough," what thoughts do you think will immediately pop up in his head? Maybe thoughts like, "What do you mean? I've been working harder recently compared to last year." Or, "Who are you to decide whether I'm working hard enough or not?" In other words, the statement of judgment has caused your son to become defensive. And when teens become defensive, they're definitely not thinking about how they need to improve their attitude or behavior. So if statements of judgment don't work, what type of statements should you make instead? The answer is statements of observation. Such statements focus on facts that are undeniable. So your teens will be much less likely to become defensive. I'm Daniel Wong, and I specialize in helping teens to thrive. Let me give you some examples based on the statements I mentioned at the start. I'll show you how you can convert those statements of judgment into statements of observation. Statement of judgment. You're not working hard enough. Statement of observation. I feel worried because I received an email from your school saying that you haven't submitted 4 assignments over the last 3 weeks. Statement of judgment. You get distracted too often. Statement of observation. Over the past week, I've noticed that you've been spending a few hours on your phone every day after school. Statement of judgment. You're hanging out with bad company. Statement of observation. I'm concerned because I saw 3 of your friends vaping yesterday. Statement of judgment. You need to stop being so irresponsible. Statement of observation. Over the past week, the chores you've been assigned haven't been completed. It might feel natural for you to make statements of judgment, but in almost every situation, there's a way to convert those statements of judgment into statements of observation. In fact, the type of statements you make has a big impact on your own overall happiness. For example, you might say, "The weather today is terrible," or "The food at lunch today was so bad." Those are statements of judgment. But what if you converted those into statements of observation instead? You might say, "The weather today is rainy," or "The food at lunch today was salty." You can probably see how statements of observation are more helpful in dealing with the frustrations of life, because they help you to see the situation more objectively. I've noticed that the most unhappy people I know are almost always making statements of judgment whenever things don't go according to plan. You can set a good example for your teens by making statements of observation more often, whether you're talking about some problem in your own life or addressing a concern you have about your teens. It will help you resolve conflicts with your teens more peacefully, and it will foster a happier home environment too. If you found this video helpful, please click the like button. And here's this other video I've created about the 4 things you should say to your teens every day if you want them to be motivated and confident. Unfortunately, very few parents say these 4 things to their teens every day. So you'll find this video useful. Watch it next.